Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Poole Harding. And tonight, we have a very special guest. This basketball head comes from a school in Brooklyn who has dominated New York City high school basketball for a few years now on the boys and girls side of things. Not Lincoln, not Jefferson, nor boys and girls. This high school is the South Shore Vikings. Today, they dominate New York City. But today, this basketball is working on the hottest new documentary on Brooklyn basketball called Ball Side Middle. Help me welcome to the show, Coach Craig Boothe.
Y'all ready? Yeah. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos, where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
All good. Nice intro. I like that.
Oh man, listen, brother, I had to bring that intro in, man. It's just something about that song that get me going. You know, even coming home from work and taking a nap, now I'm up in charge, my brother.
Right. That's a layup line song.
There you go. That's right. That's how it was made. And it's so crazy. That song was made over 10 years ago, and we just never knew what we was going to use it for. But I knew one day. And now look.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some leverage here so you can see the logo.
Yeah. Take your time. I want to give a special shout out. I want to give a special shout out to Joey Brower, James Major, and Tony Childs for their videos showing their artwork and supporting my guy, our resident artist, Jamel Powell. Please keep those videos coming so we can send out the next batch.
Awesome.
All right? So when y'all see me put up another 7 videos, then you know the next batch will be going out. And we have like a good 20 pictures ready to go. So definitely salute everybody that support the show. What's good, my brother?
All is good, man. Blessed. Busy as all get out. Busy as
I bet, man. Everybody's talking about this new documentary and they can't wait for it to be finished, man. Like, really. You know, when I talk to all the basketball heads out there.
Right. I can't wait either, to be honest with you.
So, what I like to ask all my guests is, who introduced you to the game?
Wow. My dad and my brother, 7 years old, Foster Park, Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Foster!
Yeah. I lived in Vanderbilt Projects from, say, 2nd grade to 6th grade. And I had an opportunity to start out on the garbage cans, perfected my handle. I was a little guy, and so, you had to learn how to handle, get by people. And then my dad took me to the park because he used to play a little bit. And I remember my first shot, the first basket I hit, it was an underhand scoop, and I got it in. And I kind of started falling in love with it. I was down with baseball first, but then this basketball thing. And then I watched my brother, who started at Shellbank Junior High School out there in Sheepshead Bay, and his team won the city championship in junior high school. He's about 3 years older than me, and I wanted to be just like him. And so I worked hard on, trying to be like him.
Yeah, and funny thing you say about the baseball thing, because what I'm finding out is a lot of our basketball heads who come on the show, a lot of them didn't start off in basketball. They started out in something else and then kind of fell in love with basketball.
Right. No, absolutely. Because when you live in a project, when you're young, your parents don't really let you venture out. And so the park was like a long block away. So 4, 5, 6 years old, baseball, played in the court. and you introduce the stick ball, stoop ball, baseball type concepts. So basketball was sort of not really something that was ready and available. But then once you got old enough to go to the park, then you get hooked because the park was massive. And
man, it was like a rite of passage, right? That you had to go through, right? It just wasn't. It was only for the special ones who would just jump right into it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for a lot of us, it was a learning process. Us had to play with the older guys and kind of learn how the game is ran. What's the rules, right? What's the etiquette, right? Because that's important. You just can't go to a park and kind of not know the etiquette because you could run get into a fight.
No, absolutely. And I tell people, because I play a little golf, and I had to learn the golf etiquette. So basketball is the same thing. To your point, you have to know how to dress to some extent. You just can't come out there looking like you can't play. People pick you up based on appearance. You gotta.
All right. Look, I didn't mean to stop you on this.
Right.
Because if you're from Brooklyn or anywhere in New York City, you know about this, right? You out in the court, and the dude comes to the park, and he got the full New York Knicks uniform on, with the Patrick Ewing sneakers, and the socks, and the wristband, and the headband.
Right.
What are we saying about this guy?
Yo, he can't play. He's not getting.
What do we say, Coach?
Sucks.
Yeah, he's overdressed.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
you can even simply have a guy out there with 2 wristbands on, and you're like,
no, you can't be matching like that. You can't be matching like that. You can't have the matching top and bottom.
Right.
Unless that shit was like you played for the Gauchos and you had to go to hoop uniform. But those things you never really played in because you kind of cherished those things.
Exactly. And in the 70s, literally, we did not, when we started playing, we did not wear basketball shorts. We wore a t-shirt, some jeans, or some cutoff jeans. So we didn't have what we have today, where at least you could rock some nice shorts, some nice kicks. We had our Chuck Taylors, and we had whatever else we had on, jeans. And usually your parents cut your jeans up in the summer and make shorts. So that was, the 70s. There was no uniforms.
Listen, and I'm going to correct you on this one, Coach, because you said in the 70s. In 1983, when I made Lincoln varsity team, I had a pair of blue and white Chuck Taylors, a pair of cutoff shorts, and a white T-shirt every practice for tryouts.
All right. You're right.
And this is in 83. So now, a good friend of mine and my teammate, Josie Watkins, he just called me the other day. I love this guy. Josie came to the practice with a full Flames uniform. That's the difference, right? He had his AAU and something that we knew about and knew that, man, if he played for the Flames, he got game.
Right, exactly.
That's the difference.
Right. You just you can't have the New York Knicks on, but you got something local. No,
but if you had that Flame joint on, you better know how to ball or you're going to get exposed.
Absolutely. No,
and we're going to go back to the neighborhood and say, we just busted guy from the Flames ass.
Right. right.
This happens if a dude's on Gauchos, Riverside, or Master Broncos. You bust one of those guys' ass, it's like, got you.
Right. No, absolutely.
Wow. So what was the first team you was on, Coach?
So my first team was 10 years old, 10, 11-year-old team, biddy team out of Foster Park called the PAL team. It was coached by a cop. His name was Dennis Fitzgerald. He came into Foster Park and he did some wonders. He organized us. So we were a bunch of street ball players. He organized us at every age group. And so I was on that team. And the first tournament we played in was citywide down at St. John's Recreation Center. And so that was my first memory of St. John's, my first tournament. And we finished in I think third that year. We lost to the Brooklyn USA team, which was with Boothe Washington, Mike Watler, Michael Niles, Freddie French, Tony Story, brother. They had a crew and they ran us. They ran us out the park. We probably lost about 13, but it was the first time I seen guys my age, my size, that can go, defense. And so I really looked at them a little different. I said, yo, these dudes on the other side of town can play. And, but, I held my own. I remember it vividly. Me and my backcourt partner, a brother by the name of Tiki DeVoe, we represented. But again, they were like 10, 11 deep, and they were well trained, well practiced, and they were called Sports Unlimited at the time. Ultimately, becoming Boothe USA.
Wow. Appreciate that. That's some good history right there.
Yeah.
And look, man, all those guys you named, I'm surprised y'all didn't just hand them the W when y'all played and y'all only lost by 13. So salute to you guys. No, you heard the team he was playing against at 13? Who's going to beat them?
That's crazy.
Well, you know what's interesting? At 14, 15, I joined Boothe USA. And I played on the B team. So a lot of those guys moved up to the A team. I was the B team, midgets. And then I would say I played against almost every single one of them in high school. Me going to South Shore High School, they went to AHAM, boys and girls, respectfully. And then as an adult in the pro-am situation, we wound up playing with each other. They were teammates of mine. Boothe was a teammate of mine in the pro-am, West Forth and Rucker. Kelly Washington was a teammate of mine.
Kelly, my God.
Kelly was my college teammate. We played together at Rockland Community College.
Right.
Backcourt teammates. Mike Niles and I won 3 chips at Reese Beach together, and also played against him in the hole, and also played with him in West 4th Street. His brother Steve played with us in Rucker and City College NBA Pro-Am, played with them. And, you know, so I can go on and on with all those guys. Later on, you know, we're all connected, you know. So started out playing against them, then played for them for a year, and then I wound up going to Gil Reynolds for a short summer, and then in between that, just had good interactions with Frank Mickens from Boys and Girls, who taught me about defense. Barney Davis let me play winter ball with him, and then eventually when I played high school ball for Coach Robert Sherman, and I started in the backcourt with a great guy named Jeff Wilkerson, God rest his soul. And we lost in the Brooklyn semifinals to Lincoln High School, your school. And they had a great team with John Devereaux, Dennis Thompson, and Henry Hamilton and Quentin Bucky Williams. And then they wound up losing the boys and girls, and boys and girls went on to play lost in the semifinals. Eventually, that Stevenson won the whole championship my senior year, 1980. So was
that the team with Dedrick Irvin?
No, that was a team with Ed Pickney and Fred.
Oh, yes. Okay. Got you.
Ed Pickney was a junior, and Fred Brown was a senior. And
got you.
Fred Brown was first team All-City. Pickney was third team All-City that year, I believe. And then Fred, of course, went to Georgetown, and he was in the national championship. He won a national championship with John Thompson. And Pickney wound up winning a national championship with Villanova. So that's interesting. And he beat Fred Brown in the national championship game, the teammates. So it's pretty cool.
Which is super historical, because I never knew Fred Brown was from New York City.
Oh yeah.
Right?
He was first team
at that time. I was a big North Carolina fan, and I only was a North Carolina fan because my friends like Georgetown. So I'm kind of dude that like to do the opposite.
Right.
And I came out victorious that night with my choice. But one of the greatest lessons that I learned that night was one mistake does not cost you the game.
Right.
And it's hard to get kids to realize that, because no one is talking about the turnover that happened in the first quarter, that missed foul shot, that broken play in the second quarter. All of those things count.
No, absolutely.
Now, when it happens, when the spotlight is on you and it happens, everybody gets to point the finger. But being a great coach like John Thompson was, rest in peace, at the end of the game, like, I was flabbergasted, because the first thing John Thompson did was hug him and embrace him.
Right. So let me give you a coach perspective, point guard perspective.
Yes.
So that mistake that Fred Brown made, the errant pass, right, that ultimately cost them the game, because they had the ball and they were able to basically take the last shot, but that didn't happen, right? Jordan hit the jump in the corner, they come down, and then he turns it over. I think he threw it to Worthy or whoever he threw it to.
Yeah, he handed it right to James Worthy. Yeah.
Right. So from a point guard, as a player perspective, one of the things I was taught at a young age is under 2 minutes, take care of that ball. And so you have to make sure that you have 0 turnovers under 2 minutes in a game. So that's number one. But the second thing is also we're taught court awareness, right? So you got to know where all 9 players are on the floor, not just your teammates, but the other players. Now, to Freddie Brown's defense, he really wasn't a point guard, in my opinion. He was raised as a more like a 2-3 in high school because he was a big. He was 6'4", 6'5". But Georgetown mended him and made him a point guard. And so, to me, he was still in training. And then the embracement by John Thompson, which was critical and crucial, and at the right time because it was publicly displayed on national TV that he had to embrace him because guess what? He had 1 more year with him. He had to run that team the next year. And if he lost him right there, then he wouldn't have him the next year when they won the chip. And he got his revenge, right? He was able to erase a lot of memories there. So again, I think the coach's move was, to your point, on point. But he also knew he was saving him for the next year. Not saying that if he was a senior, he wouldn't have did it, but maybe he would have did it in the locker room. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The fact that he did it, when he did it, perfect. But also, as a point guard, I think Fred Brown learned a valuable lesson. The following year, I would love to see what his, sort of leadership was. If we looked at his stats, I'm sure he stepped his game up because you got to know how to take care of that ball under 2 minutes and know where everybody's at, all 9 players. And you come up that floor, you don't see 9 players in front of you, then you can't take the risk of going slightly behind you because you don't know what's there. So that was it. But yeah, but that was one of the greatest games.
Yes, definitely. Classic game. At that time, who's the nicest guy in your neighborhood?
So in 1980, 81, 82, around that time. So in 80, I graduated from high school and I was living in East New York at the time. So I lived in Starrett City. So I would say, as far as guards were concerned, I would consider myself probably the best guard in Starrett City at the time. And then as far as bigs, a guy that was 2 years younger than me, Lorenzo Charles from Brooklyn Tech.
Brooklyn Tech, yes.
Got the dunk and won the national championship. He was from my neighborhood. Surrounding the neighborhood, outside the neighborhood, a little bit down the ways, we had like Canarsie. So we had Tommy Allen, DJ Tommy Allen, God rest his soul, John Sally. They were coming up from that way. Then the other part of East New York, a year in front of me was Sid Green, who wound up going to UNLV, playing for the Knicks, Orlando Magic, and Bill Calhoun, his teammate. They had another guard, Mike Porter, Gene Liggins. Those guys were tough. And then also in East New York, we had Glenn Daniels from Canarsie. He wanted to play at LIU. And man, we had a good representative players in East New York because, we were touching on Brownsville, so we were kind of, together. But overall in Brooklyn, Roosevelt Chapman was the man. He played for Westinghouse. He went on to play with Dayton and took him to the Sweet 16 all by himself. So he did that run, small school run before Stephon Curry. Roosevelt Chapman, Ice Reynolds, he was a junior. Beetle Washington, both Alexander Hamilton, Lionel King, Alexander Hamilton, Donald Williams, Alexander Hamilton. Boys and girls had Lamont Long, Ty Whitehead, those guys.
I had Lamont on the show. Good guy. Got to give him his picture.
Yeah. Chris Mullen was a junior, but he was tough around that time. Lafayette had a brother named Vince Wiggins, 6'10" kid, recruited by everybody in the country. And he wound up going to Southern Illinois, then transferring to LIU in Brooklyn. They had a white guard that was tough, Rob Kersner. He went to Southern Illinois, then transferred to Texas A&M. We were in the suicide division. And so
now explain what that is, please, so people understand.
Division is the Brooklyn division where the best talent in Brooklyn had to play against each other at least twice during the regular season. And then you had to beat them the top 3 teams in that division made it to the first round of the playoffs, and then eventually Brooklyn was eliminated in Brooklyn. But the suicide division was South Shore High School, Canarsie High School, Lafayette High School, Boys and Girls High School, Alexander Hamilton, and the 6th school was trying to remember FDR. So FDR was the weakest of the bunch. Matter of fact, Jeff might have been in that division too. Yeah, because we played Jeff. No, Jeff was a non-league. But those 6 there, so our top 3 coming out was Boys and Girls, Alexander Hamilton, and us. And actually, they took 4 teams, and then Lafayette.
But they made sure y'all knocked each other off.
Oh, absolutely,
first.
Absolutely.
They just
Brooklyn always killed Brooklyn, and it's crazy.
Crazy.
No, the best ball players is in Brooklyn.
I'm a conspiracy theorist to the 100 power. Trust me, I know there's a lot of things going on. This purposely happens. I just the other night was talking to John Arnold, and we was going over the New York State Mr. Basketball list and the state championship list, and it just looked like they were just picking names out of a hat. I know, guys, teams had to compete, but they knew if they could get this group to play against each other, knock this group off, eventually they'll get what they want out of the pack.
So, Glenn, the reason why, to segue into the documentary, the reason why I'm doing the documentary is because of some of those factors of the adversity and sort of the culture and the things that we have to endure in Brooklyn during the time period between 1975 and 19 said, hey, we could take this time period to 1965 to 1975, pretty much the same thing. But I focused on an era where I was, it resonated with me. I was playing from middle school, junior high school, all the way through college, and then a little bit of pro-am. So I got a nice block of time there. But aside from just getting out from a b-ball perspective, there was absolutely no educational investment in the black kids in the hood. So, for example, Brownsville, Brooklyn during that time, and even today, you got a few schools, few small schools, but in that time, 75 to 85, there was 0 high schools in Brownsville, Brooklyn. You had a population of 50 some odd thousand people, and you had 0 high schools. East New York, Brooklyn had well over 120,000 people living in East New York. You had 1 high school, Jefferson Boys. You had a girls' high school, Maxwell. Okay, so you're talking about a populace of about 170,000 people, and Brownsville, East New York, pretty much right next to each other.
Yeah.
And you got 2 high schools, Maxwell and Jeff. Okay.
I didn't even know that.
And so instead of the politicians investing in our community and putting our high school in our community, what did they do? They put us on a New York City bus, not a yellow bus, a New York City bus. And usually most of us rode 2 buses because it was a 2-fare zone.
Yeah.
That we had to get on the bus and we had to travel to neighborhoods, predominantly Italian neighborhoods, where they did not want us there. I'm talking about at 12 years old, leaving Flatbush, Brooklyn, going to, and Flatbush only had 2 schools, Midwood and Erasmus, which technically were white schools up until the mid-70s, where they got really integrated because, that was Billy Cunningham's house. Barbra Streisand, people like that. Yeah. But those schools started getting somewhat integrated, but they were same as South Shore, because brothers from Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights was getting bused to Midwood, okay? And so we had to look at, and Flatbush in the 70s was a lot of white people. It wasn't like you see today, where there's a lot of blacks and West Indian and Hispanic. You didn't have that back in the day. So now we getting bused. Now imagine this, you coming out of Tilden Projects, Howard Houses, Starry City, wherever, and you got to deal with the gangs. There was over 20 gangs in Brooklyn alone. So you got gang stuff going on. Then you leave that, you get on this bus with a little bus pass with adults on the bus, and you 12, 13 years old, riding, hopefully with a couple of homies who's getting bused with you. getting on 2 buses to go about 5-6 miles, maybe more, and you get off the bus and you're in a completely white neighborhood. We shocked the neighborhoods. We getting called. I was called a nigga every day. And
Wow.
so you're being called a nigga every day. Nobody cut classes because you were afraid for your life. So you go in and the teachers, thank God they were fair, because a lot of those teachers didn't live in that community. So they were like, hey, we're here to educate. We're going to educate you. So I didn't experience any racism from my teachers. However, the educational system was built for me to learn that Black history started in Gettysburg, Virginia. It started with the Pilgrims. You see what I'm saying? So we weren't even allowed to learn true Black history. And they did not, it was simple enough to say, let me build a high school in East New York. Let me build another high school in Brownsville. Keep us home in our communities where we were safe. But no, you send us out there, we're not safe. And your parents can't pull you because there's no alternative. Where are they going to send you? No such thing as homeschool. So where were they going to send you if they didn't allow you to go to these communities? So now I'm talking about, it was crazy. I'm talking about like taking baseball bats, busting out windows, shooting at you with BB guns, being in the parks with Mercedes, and the police nowhere to be found. 3 o'clock, we all had ulcer cramps trying to get to that bus. Because if you missed that 3 o'clock bus, now you in the community with all of them and just you and a couple. I played junior high school ball at Boys Man, which is behind King's Plaza in Gerritsen. So you take the Flatbush Avenue bus, the Avenue N, it makes a left, it goes all the way to the end. And I was, like I said, cold nigga every day. One day I was coming home, I played a game, and me and 2 other guys coming home, and we was waiting. We said, man, it's getting dark. We got to get out of here. So we get on a bus, and we go a little different way. We take the 78, the Ralph Avenue bus, because all we got to do is get into Brownsville or get into Flatbush Junction. We good. So the bus is not coming, and it's getting darker. So we started walking. White boys jumped out. Nigga started chasing us. And we ran for our lives. And luckily, they backed off because they seen we would get, once we got to near Flatlands Avenue, near South Shore, they kind of backed off. JV game, South Shore High School. We going to a game at New Utrecht. We had to take 2 buses. We get off the bus stop. We're waiting on the connection bus to get us to New Utrecht. White boys jump out of the van with crowbars and saying, we're going to get you niggas. We ran into a pharmacy. We're in the pharmacy hiding on the floor. The owner says, what are y'all doing? We said, yo, they trying to kill us. We get out. We go outside. The man, God bless him, he saved us. He told these guys to leave us alone. They said, oh, when we come in your neighborhoods, you try to kill us. I said, that's not true. I don't even care about you coming.
We do not.
You probably think you're a cop if you came into our
That's
neighborhood.
one thing that I, since growing up in Brooklyn, that's something that we always did. If a white guy came to play, showed them love. White guy moved to the block, we show everybody love.
Ball player. And ball players
definitely.
That was in the mind, like white boy coming.
Ball players in our
But we're
community
not going to treat them unfairly.
Not at all.
right. And gang members don't try to hurt us in our community because we play ball. So I remember when we got to the game, we told Coach, we said, Coach, we can't go back the way we came, man. It's going to be nighttime, and we're not dealing with it. Coach packed us in like sardines. Coach Sherman, Coach Barney Davis packed us in, got us back to the hood. And the interesting thing is that all that adversity, we still represented our schools that they didn't want us there. We still represented the South Shores, the Lafayettes, the Canarsies, the FDRs, the Utrechts. We represented them, and we won, and we played well, and we got an opportunity to do something knowing we're playing for a racist school. And if I didn't have a varsity jacket that says South Shore High School basketball, man, I was in trouble. I was in trouble. So these are the things that I'm trying to highlight and shine a light on, that the brothers that came through that, lots of us, and were able to get through the adversity. And you'll hear a lot of testimony like this in the documentary about, yo, what we went through. Then you'll say, man, how did we survive? And let me just say one thing, Glenn. 31 years. It took me 31 years to step foot on my junior high school's playground. 31 years later, And when I stepped on there, God, honest truth, my wife was with me. I cried because this place right here in my deep DNA and my core was so much hatred and craziness. But I learned later on in life through my high school coach, actually, that racism isn't a community, it's people. And because I got treated fairly by other people that did not look like me, and these people here,
and it's taught,
it's taught. Oh, absolutely,
right,
absolutely. Because I went to predominantly white college, East Stroudsburg University, and learned to get along. But I know I was an athlete. But then I worked on Wall Street for 8 years in the corporate environment, and went through that type of racism. But I learned through life, and I still don't quite understand why they hate people of color. And
listen, I can take you to a nice history lesson. We can talk about that off air, because trust me,
it's crazy.
It's a whole slew of things. But I want to give a shout out to my guy, Joe, my guy, call him Boston Joe. He's basketball historian on that side of things in Northeast. Look, the things that we know about what was going on in Boston in the 70s and the busing with the kids, he said reminds him of what you were just saying, what was going on in Brooklyn.
It was in the world was trying, after civil rights, the country decided to integrate schools. And of course, it started with the colleges. And then, of course, you've seen images of kids trying to go to school being spit on and yelled at or whatever to integrate. Integration was one way. It was blacks going into the white institutions because they did not trust the whites coming into our neighborhood, and they thought that we would do the same thing to them as they did to us. That's one, when I sincerely doubt that would have happened. But then the second thing was there was no investment in the educational system as far as resources. So the white schools, you were getting better education, better resources, because they've invested in those educational facilities. They did not do that in the black communities. So therefore, integration was like, we're not taking these white kids who are in these privileged situations and putting them into the black schools where they're not going to have the same resources. They're going to fail. So for us, it kind of, oh, that's nice. Nice work back there.
He teasing me, man. Teasing me.
He's on point.
Cause I can't watch. I'm not. He don't want me to looking at the picture before he finished.
There you go. So at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for them to integrate. So when you integrate it, and it was a one-way integration, it was done in all urban communities, all black communities. Let's integrate the schools, which I think was one of the worst things that could happen, because by taking us out of our communities and making us travel for hours on buses with strangers, and then dealing with the racism when we got there every day for 2, 3, sometimes 6 years, depending on your situation, it messed us up mentally. But
listen, that was a job that was well planned out. Let me explain something to you. Early on, when they started letting blacks into colleges, right? I think they let like 1,700, some number like that early on. Then they saw that over 95% of all the black people who went to college went back to work for the same people who was oppressing them. So they was like, oh, open the floodgates and let them all in. We got another working class.
Right, but also they control the narrative, right?
Oh, for sure.
Predominantly white people, they're going to educate you the way they want to educate you.
Right.
Give you the information that they want you to have. And the information is just like going into a Catholic church and you look up on the walls and every image is a white person looking at you. And so, not to really get on race too much.
No, but it affects us psychologically.
Oh, absolutely. And as athletes, the basketball that we endured and we loved so much was our savior. The basketball saved our lives. The basketball protected us from the white crazies and the gangs. The basketball is our first love. The basketball is our endless love. And the basketball made us not realize and recognize that we were poor. The basketball didn't have us focused on the communities we lived in. That basketball took us places. you know, and we never left. It was just right there, but it took us places. It protected us. That's why this documentary is hopefully the younger folks that are playing this thing today, where they're saying, I want to play this because I want to live like LeBron, or I want the fame and fortune of a Kevin Durant. And we didn't play for that reason. We didn't play for money. We played because that basketball was our savior. It was, you know, church for me was the basketball court. I never went to church. My church was between the lines, but that's where I could check out on the world. I mean, give me a honey bun and a Pepsi, I can get through the whole day and some basketball. You know what I'm saying? And
Listen, Tiny Morton, I remember the first interview I ever did, and we were talking, and he was talking about another friend of ours, another basketball head guy came up with us who's heavily into the church, and he was saying, yo, Pooh, man, I'm not knocking what anybody does, anybody thinks. He said, but for me, Pooh, my God is basketball. And I had to kind of step back and look at his life and see how his life has turned out.
Yeah.
For him to feel that way. Now, that's not to knock out anybody else feel, but
no,
as you said, basketball saved all of our lives.
Yes, it's a godly gift. I believe that God gives you gifts. And he gave you that gift because if you didn't have that ball, and whatever ball it was, if it's baseball, football, whatever, but for us, basketball, this is the context that we were given. And if we didn't have that, then you're worrying about what you're going to eat. Then you're worrying about those gang members when you got to walk through the building and they all sitting out in front of the building. Then you got to worry about getting out of going to a high school baseball game, basketball game, and are you going to get jumped? Oh, he's on the basketball team. We're going to leave him alone. He gets a pass. You know, and then, you know, taking it deeper, those who were able to get free educations like myself, yourself, to be able to take basketball and get a free education and then be able to take care of your families later on in life. So it's so deeper. It's so deep. And that's part of the documentary, if not a lot of the documentary, is the people I interviewed, we were asking questions about what does that ball mean to you? And you get so many different answers, but it all are in that universe of saving your life and how, like some people said that the basketball was every decision they made in life, they made by their experiences from basketball, even how they run their marriage. It's crazy. And so that's one part of the documentary that's heavy, but the other part of it, and we all have these mentors, and
which I'm definitely one. Salute to my guy, Jaheim Williams. Just sent him off to college. He's at Jackson College University, a young man I've been mentoring for some years now.
Right.
And, you know, got Anthony Petaway, still mentoring him.
Good stuff.
And a slew of other young guys and fellas that's out there, that's in the world. But it's very, very important. Very important.
And
how important does mentorship help with you?
Oh, my gosh. You know, from Lester Roberts to Ray Haskins to Lloyd McCrory to Gil Reynolds to Ted Gustis to Robert Sherman, Barney Davis, Steve Magic Bird, all of these people from the age of 12, Dennis Fitzgerald, the cop, from the age of, let's say, 10 to the age of 19, shaped and molded me. They're influencing me. Like Coach Bob Sherman from South Shore, who was the national New York City Coach of the Year in like early 90s. Lost to you guys, Lincoln, in the championship game at the Garden. I attended that game. This man, if you see his house and all the collectibles he has, and then you come to my basement, you can see he influenced me. I mean, I'm living just like him. This is a little white Jewish guy. Frank Mickens, who taught me about leadership and how he ran Boys and Girls High, but also how I worked camps with him, and he taught me leadership. Gil Reynolds taught me about toughness and IQ and understanding basketball and, you know, Lloyd McCrory.
Fundamentals, son.
Yes.
Fundamentals, son.
Yes, Lloyd McCrory, fundamentals. Ray Haskins taught me how to referee. I went to his referee class, and he certified me. And then later on in life, always wisdom and advice all day long. Ted Gustis, the first basketball tournament I ever ran was at Ditmas Park thanks to Ted Gustis. He allowed me to do that, and we've been friends, and he's been mentoring me for years. He's the head of the PSCL Brooklyn, and Ted, you know, God just blessed this man with the ability to communicate, and so I got a lot of that from him. Lester Roberts, I created my own Brooklyn USA in Virginia, and coached 300 kids. Got about 150 of them into college. AAU coaching for like 17 years, both on the boys and girls side. And I've been a high school coach for 9 years at the boys varsity level, head varsity basketball coach. And so, but my drill, ball side middle, first drill I run with my team. That's the name of the documentary.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that, like the name, where did that come from? Give me some info, Coach.
The first drill I learned when I went down to St. John's Rec to play for Boothe USA was ball side middle. It's a full court weave, but it has some concepts in there. And I never forgot that drill. And I never forgot when we played, we were expected to kick that ball out to the side, shift that defense over, creep in that middle, and boom, here we go. And
got you.
Lester Roberts, in my era, Lester Roberts was the godfather of basketball in Brooklyn. Nike sponsored Brooklyn USA, and they were the first organization nationally that Nike invested in and sponsored. And it was the first grassroots organization that Nike put, you know, money into. And I was in early, like 77, somewhere around there, 77, 78.
Wow.
So then, but then we take the ball and we strip it. And you're going to hear different versions of how people look at the ball, the side, and the middle. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the ball is our DNA. It's always with us. It's in our core. The side are the mentors and the coaches that help guide us. And then the middle is your soul and how basketball is in your soul and it never leaves you. So these are sort of like breaking down a concept. You'll hear Ray Haskins speak about it a little differently, but it's very deep the way he breaks it down, and we got that in the documentary. Then you hear a lot of players emphasize what that ball means, what the middle means, what the side means. So, and that's where it's a pretense from the beginning of the first episode, which is the St. John's story with Lester Roberts, Ray Haskins, Lloyd McCrory, Brooklyn USA, Sports Unlimited, that whole universe, because they changed the culture. They were the first organization in Brooklyn that had multiple teams at multiple age group levels. When you had Hall of Famers like Bernard King playing for them, Albert King playing for them, and then guys from every high school, whether it's South Shore, Canarsie, whatever, played for Brooklyn USA at some point in time. Ted Gustis played for them. You know?
Was it the Brevoort Sports Foundation, the thing back then? It was the Rucker of New York back then?
Right. So let me give you a little history. First, the Rucker, and I got this from Coach Ray Haskins. The Rucker tournament up in Harlem.
Started with. Let the world know, because he told me too.
Yeah, Holcomb Rucker worked at Kingston Park in Brooklyn.
Facts.
And
Brooklyn.
The first Rucker tournament was in Kingston. And then
Facts.
he got uptown, and he took the tournament uptown eventually from 145th to 155th, and then it became Holcomb Rucker, the Rucker Pro League. And McCullers took it over with Fred, I forget Fred's last name, his family. And they
the first Holcomb Rucker game was played in Kingston Park.
Yes, Brooklyn.
Basketball history on Basketball Heads.
Atlantic Avenue, my friend. And
yes.
Then, so talking about Brevoort.
I'll be visiting soon.
Let me give you one more thing about Uptown basketball in Harlem. Two more things. 1988, a team by the name of United Brooklyn, owned by myself and Sid Jones, God rest his soul. We won the regular season championship in the Rucker with Kurt Sumter, Beetle Washington, Jeff Merriweather, Steve Niles, who else played on that team? Russ Davis, Rick Rejected Davis.
What year was this?
88.
Woo!
Yeah, I still got the.
I was in college in '88. Shit.
Yes, we won the regular season Rucker. Kurt Sumter was on that team. He was our leading scorer, Kurt Sumter. And,
come on, go figure. Really?
Yes.
I'm shocked.
Yes. And not
R.I.P. Kurt Sumter.
Yeah. Shout out and God rest his soul. And his son went on to have a great career at Villanova. I think his son works in the G League now, doing well.
And is is his son the big man?
Yeah, the big guy,
Curtis?
7 kid, Kurt something Jr. That's his son.
I never knew that.
Yes, that's his son.
Yo, we gotta get in contact. I need to get him on the show now.
Yeah, Ted Gustis is in contact, but I think you can reach him through the G League. I think he works for the G League.
I'm definitely gonna reach out to Coach Gustis and Coach Haskins and want to make that happen because I would love to talk to Curtis too, but he's a direct descendant and line of his father, which was a hero for guys like myself.
Absolutely, and I didn't know that until he played for Villanova and he was in the NCAA tournament. And then I said, that guy's name is just like Kurt. And then once I started asking the fellas, is he got any relation to Kurt something? Because he's from Brooklyn. And then they're like, yeah, that's his son.
Wow.
So it's crazy.
Look at that, yo.
If you look at them real close, they got
now I'm thinking about it. Yes.
Yeah. So just to say this about the Uptown story real quick, we get the Boothe. Uptown, the Entertainers League was ran by a brother named Rick Wheeler Jr. And Rick Wheeler Jr. is from Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville. And Rick Wheeler Jr. played at South Shore High School. He was a teammate of mine. He played football and basketball. He graduated in '81. Rick Wheeler Jr. wound up moving to Harlem, and him and his dad got involved, and they ran the Entertainers League.
The EBC? The EBC or the Entertainers? Because it was the EBC, then it's the Entertainers, then they go back to the Rucker.
All right, so I don't know which one it was. They started out downtown and they moved up to the 155th after negotiating some stuff with McCullough and them to run it there. But I'm talking about them early on ones when Fat Joe and them had teams and all that. That was Rick Wheeler Jr.
Oh, really? Okay. EBC. That's EBC.
Yeah, you go to the Facebook, you'll see the pictures of what he was running. And God rest his soul, he passed away last year.
Salute.
Boothe was the first tournament and the only one that I know of in Brooklyn that was in the projects. It wasn't outside the project. It was in the heart of the project, and the first one to have lights. So that's deep. Back in, I think it ran from 74.
And the stands, and the stands too. They had them in King Towers as well. The stands, but we had them kind of all around.
Right.
Only except for one side.
Right. King Towers, yes, but not. I don't think they ran a tournament there in the 70s.
Right.
I think that was in the 80s they started running stuff there.
Yes.
Boothe was up in the 70s. Now, Boothe was ran by a guy named Hank Trotman. And Hank Trotman also has a son named Norrin Trotman, who was one of the top photographers for the NBA.
Wow.
And he was the main photographer for the New Jersey Nets when they were at the Meadowlands. And he lived in Starrett City as an adult. That's how I met him. And so there's some connectivity there to the NBA. But Boothe was the first ones to bring the Harlem Wizards out. They had halftime entertainment. They had a DJ. They had a brother by the name of Cohen, play-by-play, like Marv Albert. Oh man, it was just crazy.
So all the things that was happening in Boothe kind of splattered other places up to Harlem and the Bronx, and they started using bits and pieces. Kind of was like the ABA for the NBA.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Boothe was definitely way ahead of his time. They had sponsors. They charged very little money, and they were the first tournament that started bringing in teams from out of town, like Philly and Baltimore, and then then you had pro players coming down there playing. So Boothe, first, when I never played in Boothe until later on in the late '80s, but it wasn't Boothe Sports Foundation. It was a tournament.
No, it was the Sonny Lewis. It was the Sonny Lewis tournament.
Right.
Yes, we won it in '88. We went to the championship 87 and '88.
Right.
And my dumb ass left to go to college early, and we wanted to lose by one. But I came back that next year and took the whole thing and MVP and everything.
There you go. And Sonny Lewis, God rest his soul, that's a great guy. We definitely gonna have him mentioned in the documentary.
Actually, hold on for one sec. Hold on for one sec. Because I never did this. Out of all my trophies that I have, wow. that are in the closet. All of my trophies are in the closet except this one because it's too big to fit. And I'll bring it to let the world see.
There you go.
Right? So this was like the MVP trophy in 1988.
And see, that's hardware. That's what we give out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. This is what you leave, right? Two
That's
trophies in the jacket.
Right, and then you got to try to take it on the train. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, and when God saw you with that trophy, there was more in all than want to rob you. Dudes really gonna rob you for a trophy. It's like
absolutely. Nah. Everybody was like cool with that. Then you're born.
yeah.
You're protected. But you know the great thing about it is, I think that just having that hardware, and I know it gets dusty, it gets in the way.
Very dusty. Well, I put them all in the closet. I got tired of cleaning them.
Yeah, but you gotta take them out, man. You gotta take them out, man.
I know my business partner and best friend right now is getting on me because his trophy case is immaculate still to this day.
Mine is too. You gotta take them out because here's the thing. It's like if you went to the military and you earn your stripes. Those are stripes, man. You know, you got, like, you see guys in the military, even if they're retired and they go to a function, they put their uni on, they wear their stripes, their medals and all that. You got to do that, man. You got to even, you know, even your backdrop here, get a little trophy case up, man. You cannot put your stripes in the closet, man.
Yo, they are in the closet live from Bronx. I got one arm, more dusty. I'm promoting this right now, right? This is a new trophy. It was created by somebody that looked just like us, my guy Eric Hicks.
Nice.
And we want to start branding this, make sure everybody have this in their household.
Oh, that's nice. The game over, right? That's game over.
Yeah, there you go, right here.
That's beautiful. And the thing about it is, you know, it's something like, I think when we were younger, we chased the gold. If you got silver, silver and gold was always the same height, but you wanted the gold. Because, you know, if you got silver, you didn't talk about it. It's always
nobody wants to talk about second place.
No, absolutely. And then in Boothe is the first time I met and watched Sam Worthing play. And Sam Worthing became my idol. And I try to pattern my game after him. So that's an important tournament to me.
Let me tell you, Sam Worthing was like Big Daddy Kane to me. Because both of them are close friends of mine. And I knew I couldn't rap like Kane, so I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I'll just keep my voice. Cool. Right. Sam Worthing, I was 6'5", like him, 6'6", but I couldn't handle like him. Right? I said if I can keep my handle good, you know, just decent enough.
Right.
Because my handle was way better than a lot of other guys because I was 5'8", then grew to 6'6". So that I still had that little bit, that handle with me. But it wasn't like Sam. Let me give you an example. 1985's City College Pro-Am game. Sam Worthing is playing against Kevin Williams, who played for the Seattle Supersonics back then, which is now the Oklahoma Thunder.
Right.
The announcer is having the crowd just yell, Sam, Sam. And every time they yell his name, and he's walking the ball up the court, just throwing it between his legs. Bam.
Right. That's it.
Bam.
That's it.
Bam. So when he reached Kev, instead of going in between his legs, he had like he was going in between his legs and did an in and out.
Right. With the head. Got the head.
Yeah, you already know how he had Kevin Williams on the floor. The blue and white, the blue Pumas was just spinning the half court.
Oh man. He
left Kev on the floor, got to the key, stepped to the foul line, jumped, spin the ball on his finger, rolled it down his arm, and threw it to Kim Bannister. Kim Bannister caught it with one hand and slammed that shit so hard, like 5,000 people was on the court.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what Sam did that really, I don't know if it'll top that one. But
I'll never forget that.
I watched him in Boothe, and Sam came down in Boothe, and he crossed half court, and he's almost at the top of the key, and he's dribbling, and all of a sudden he looks all the way up in the air and kind of does this with his hand, like looked up. So what's the natural thing for the whole world to do? Look up. I was a little slow. I didn't look up that fast, and as soon as the head went up, skated, went by, laid it up, the whole crowd.
Wow, that's crazy. Stem, not Kevin Williams from LG. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry
My
about
God.
that. My phone just went on a blink and said it was too hot. The conversation
Yo.
must have heated up. So it said it's too hot and shut down. But
That's
now you
awesome
close
right
it
there,
out.
Coach. I want to say what's up to my guy, 594 Ali. He is the Basketball Heads commentary writer. He writes some of the greatest commentary, and in the comments, I'm telling you, like, I'm definitely going to make sure he's down with Basketball Heads because he do a great job of, you know, after I post something, he make the comments and just put the story together. A lot of times when I leave things out, he just fills in the blanks. So I want to give a big salute to my guy, 594 Ali Young, for sure. So, right. So, South Shore, right, was never really a powerhouse per se. They was in a fight. But now they are the elite school in the city. How does that make you feel, Coach?
Oh, very proud, obviously. So let me just give you a little history. In the 70s, mid 70s, South Shore had some of the best talent in the city. And the reason why is, as I said about busing, most of those guys were coming out of Brownsville and a few from East New York. But Brownsville was like, you had Darryl Robinson, who went on to play for Appalachian State, Bobby Crimmon's first recruit when he coached at Appalachian. So you had that situation. You had Earl Fuller, who.
Oh, yo, let's hold up right there with Earl Fuller, because I'm bringing him on the show, not next week, but the week after that. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to go out and I'm going to come right back in, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Let me stop, man. I'll tell people I'll break down that song one day.
Yeah.
That song was produced by my guy, Live 1-0. Original track. I sat here and watched him make it on his iPad. And he just left it here. And then every day I would come in and play that beat. I was like, yeah, this sounds like a basketball game.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be his song. He came back. I was like, y'all want to let you hear something. He's like, where you get that? Oh, this shit is kind of hard. And that was that.
Right,
So, to my guy, he made that beat in like a couple of minutes, and it's classic.
Talent.
So, yeah, definitely. So we was talking about the success of South Shore on the boys and girls side, which I can't say has been done in PSAL in a very long time. I don't think, as long as I've been in basketball, I haven't seen a basketball powerhouse like this on both sides.
Yeah, on both sides at the same time. It's phenomenal. I think they had a 2-year run where they've done it and headed for 3. Would have headed for 3.
It would have been 3 this year, definitely.
Yeah. So it's phenomenal. You know, the dynamics of the school has changed because of
8 schools.
Yeah, all these schools in one.
Two of our schools that we play against are in that school.
Right. So that's a different. But again, going back into the 70s, you did have some great talent. And it starts with, again, Andre Stanley, who, God rest his soul, had a stroke at an early age and didn't live long. But he was kind of set up to be a pro basketball player. Darryl Robinson, again, mentioning him, Earl Fuller, Michael Bennett, who wound up becoming one of the top high school refs in New York City.
Right.
Bennett was tough, went down Elizabeth City and killed the game. Tony Biles, who was one of the best players in the city. He was a Street and Smith honorable mention All-America, along with Fuller in 1976, 77.
What y'all know about Street and Smith? Like, you ain't a young buck knowing about Street and Smith because you ain't paying attention.
No.
That was like the source magazine for hip-hop, right?
Right.
But it was for basketball. Yep. It was the Bible. You had to. I got 2, and I was in one. Right. But trust me, I think I got 3 old ones. I got the one where Ben Wilson was #1 with that finger like this.
Right.
I have that one. Also the year where Chris Brooks was All-American, and another one. Yeah. We need to collect those.
I have Streets and Smith from 1974 to today. I've collected Streets and Smith. I've collected sporting news. I've collected Athlon. I have over 400 basketball magazines.
Yo, fam, first of all, we can all those other ones is cool. Street and Smith, fam.
Oh yeah.
You got that. Look, yo, do me a favor. Hand me that box, the top box. Now I'm gonna show you something, right? And we need to talk one day.
Sure.
Because I would love to get so you a collector's dude, right? And I told you I'm a hip hop head. Right?
Ah, the original sources.
Okay? Okay?
Yes. Yes.
So from me and my guy have been collecting these for years.
Now,
and the fact that you have
I have mine
the Street and Smith, brother.
Yeah,
Huh?
Plastic. I have mine in plastic.
Oh, I got them in a box. I just put them all in a box and I'm taking them to plastic to the next level. Trust me.
I think I may have the very first Source magazine.
I think when it was small, when it was like in paper.
And I think on the cover was Malcolm X. I think that I'm gonna have to go look and I'll text you it.
This is before all the advertisers. It was just all strictly music, and then it became something else.
And a part of our era, for the documentary is concerned, we had two Brooklyn nights on the cover. We had Chris Mullin one year, and we had Pearl Washington one year.
That's right. I think I had that Pearl one.
Yeah, they both. I think that was like '83, and then Chris was '81. So those two actually were on the cover of from Brooklyn. And then in Streets of Smith, Albert King in 76, 77 was first team All-America. Albert King.
He was the He was the first Kenny Anderson. He was the first lawyer. He was like the first basketball guy in New York City. Besides like Connie Hawkins, but he was like the revered high school for everyone.
He was the #1 high school player in the country.
Yes.
However, think about this stat. In 1974 and in 1975, back-to-back, Lafayette High School in 74, Canarsie High School in 75 were the #1 teams in the country high school.
And Canarsie went 32-0, right?
Yeah, with Kurt Redding, Ty Latson, that whole crew right there. Ty Waiters, that was a good crew. And then South Shore was right behind them as far as competitive. Like Canarsie had to get through South Shore and also Lafayette. And the year before, though, Lafayette had 5 guys that make All City.
Yes.
So it's pretty tough. And then when you get to 81, you had 78, you had the Boys and Girls High team with Richie Gordon, Maurice Sanford. And I was coached by Frank Mickens. They won the city championship. And then in 81, Alexander Hamilton wins the city championship with 7 Division I players and 2 NBA players.
First of all, they had 24 guys on their team and 12 win Division I. And Ray Haskins was 179-14 in 8 years.
Yes, absolutely.
So let me just give you 1981. I'm just going to run off some names real quick, and it's all your era. 81. I want to test you with doing this, coach, and put you on the spot. First team all city. You know any? Do you know who was on the 1980-81 team?
Jerry Reynolds.
Yeah.
He was the player of the year. Beetle Washington.
Yeah.
Eugene Washington, Beetle Washington. George Allen.
No. I'm going to read them off to you. It's Coach Haskins was the coach. Big John Harris, my guy who played with me in West Forth. Lorenzo Charles. Jerry Ice Reynolds, Eugene Washington, and Richie Fields from Lafayette.
No. So what you just read to me was all Brooklyn first team.
Yeah, not good.
City.
You good. You good. You good.
That was all
you good.
Brooklyn first team. I give you that.
So Eugene. So we're gonna go all city.
Right.
Eugene Waldron, who I'm interviewing. Tomorrow, I got a Zoom interview with him tomorrow from Syracuse.
Eugene Waldron should have been 1980.
It's 79-80.
Yeah, so hold on, let me give it to you then. So 79-80, was Eugene Waldron, Fred Brown, Roosevelt Chapman, Gary Springer, and his teammate, Richie Adams. Thank you.
Look, Coach, I ain't want to tell you, but I said this guy doing the Brooklyn documentary. Let me test this guy's skills.
You better know.
Brother, you on point. You're on point. And in fact, when I started reading off the old Brooklyn, he's like, hold on. That's all Brooklyn. Right. Ah, right. Good, right. Good.
Because in 81.
79, first team. 78, 79, first team.
So I'm going to give it a crack. I'll say.
Even if you get some of the guys on the second or third team, that's still good.
Sidney Green.
Sid, facts.
Richie Gordon.
Facts.
Maurice Sanford.
Facts.
And then you had, those are the three Brooklyn guys. You had two guys from somewhere else. So I'm thinking 70, 79. Give me the schools and I'll tell you the player.
You name, actually there's another Brooklyn guy on there.
Oh, Rob Brown.
Huh?
Robbie Brown, Wingate. That would be the fourth.
He's on the third team. He's on the third team. He's on the third team. On the first team was Richie Gordon, Sid Green, Billy Goodwin.
Oh, Billy Goodwin, yeah.
Nate Sims and Maurice Sanford. So you nailed them, brother.
Nate Aham, yeah.
Right.
Nate,
Yep.
So out of those guys, just to tell you this for the documentary, Nate Sims, Mo Sanford, Richie Gordon, all three were interviewed for the documentary. And then
nice.
The other team that you mentioned, Ice Reynolds, Beetle Washington, were interviewed. And then a year after, Andre Irvin.
I need to get Beetle on the show. I got to call Coach again.
Yeah.
Coach is my lifeline for the show, man. Like,
did a lot with Beetle. And then Andre Irvin was interviewed. Rob Brown was interviewed from Wingate. Man, we interviewed a lot of people.
I posted I posted two of your videos today, back to back.
Yeah, we got a lot of people interviewed.
With Andre Irvin, yeah. That's dope, man. That's dope. So when are you looking to get this out?
So we concluded the on-location filming, and we're wrapping up some Zooms with some NBA guys. Like, for example, we interviewed Rolando Blackman.
Got him, yeah.
77. We interviewed Jeff Houston from Canarsie High School, Brownsville.
My guy, yeah, Jeff, yeah.
Interviewed World Be Free.
Still looking to get him. I need to get him. He's a very private individual.
Yeah, he doesn't like too much, but I think because he saw we were focused on culture, that meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
I also interviewed John Sally, who would be a great interview for you.
I reached out to John already, so I know he's a little bit busy right now, but yeah. I'm going to keep reaching out, and I got Coach Gustus, so he'll make that happen.
Tell Gustus and John that you want to get deep into his healthy lifestyle, which will be positive for your viewers and all the brothers. Man, you know, he would love to talk to y'all about that, because that's deep.
Listen, one of the questions I added because of my guy Arthur Lee Walker, who's a fitness guy, and the fact that Ted Gustus was the first person I asked it to, and he shared that he's on the John Sally diet. We talked about that.
We all are. Yeah. He gave us a challenge. Sally Dog gave us a challenge, Spider, and we're all on that challenge. And it's challenging, but it's going to make us healthier. And I respect that.
I'm trying. I done cut out I don't eat beef, don't eat pork, and I have not even a lot of chicken. My freezer used to be packed.
Right.
It's more fruits and vegetables in my refrigerator than it is meat.
Yeah.
So I'm weaning it off.
2 gallons of water in you every day.
Oh, that's all I drink. If you've been on my show, that's all I drink is water all day.
2 gallons a day, and then get in 40 minutes of walking. 20 minutes.
That's all I do because I don't drive. So I'm walking everywhere, anywhere.
You live in New York still, so you're able to do that.
Brother, I was almost 300 pounds.
Oh, man, you look good, bro.
Okay?
You're doing your
So
thing.
it's like switching it all up and trying to live out
You
here.
should tell your story. That's all that counts.
Look, one day, definitely, because everyone always telling me that. I want to kind of get these few last questions in.
Yeah.
What is your perception of New York City basketball today? I know you're doing a lot of stuff in the past, but what is your mindset about New York City's brand today?
That's a very good question. It is a driver for me to reopen the past, because I think
I was a full floor MVP for 8 years straight. Yo, salute my guy, Mr. Crossland. I'm gonna read what he said, yo.
yeah.
And Mr. Crossland, this weekend I'll be sending out your shorts and t-shirts for winning that prize. He said, tell coach I made All-American for the projects. 13.
Right.
13.
I love
And
it.
he said, I'm available to be involved anytime. I was full floor MVP for 8 years straight.
Yo, that's classic. Hey, tell him if he don't mind doing an audio of that and sending it to me. I will definitely consider, man. And I want to hear with the passion that you just gave it to me. Because when I'm coaching kids, and I'll tell these kids, I said, you're not even all neighborhood. You're not even all my man said he's all project, full floor. I love it.
8 years. 8 years full floor. Like, you can't get no better than that.
He probably said I'm the king of slam dunk on the puff basketball too.
Early. Listen, I was all Pathmark, no frill section.
There you go.
5 years straight.
Right. But yeah, back to your question real quick, and I'll sum it up.
Yeah, perception.
Migration, really, where they're getting that foundation, their roots from New York. My issue with New York City basketball is not the high school scene so much. It's that we have less community leaders, less people working with the kids, developing them into young men, men coaching, male coaching, as opposed to just, basketball coaching for scholarships and sneakers. And people are setting up AAU teams left and right, and you're losing a lot of the credence and the credibility. AAU basketball, I coach in AAU basketball, but when I ran my program, I had one team. I had one boys team, one girls team, and I raised them. You add a player or two, you lose a player or two along the way. I just think that allows me to make an investment in kids, and I'm not saturated with a bunch of kids, and I can focus. We just need more community people. Why is Solar Hole not having a tournament? Why is Boothe, the Coliseum is still there? Why is there no tournament there? Why is Wingate?
Well, I can tell you about Boothe. I ran a tournament a few years ago, and I did it in the big park because they didn't want to do it because the floor was too messed up in the Coliseum,
right? And
they didn't want to fix it. So I went down to the people at NYCHA, and the guy who was who was running community affairs, he said, Mr. Glenn, very reputable guy. A lot of people respect you, so I'm gonna tell you the truth. He said, it's sad to say that crime pays. So what do you mean? He said they will never fix the Boothe Coliseum again because they can lock up too many young black men. And if they don't have anything to do, which they don't, and if you got it right in the center of the projects, that's the heartbeat of the projects. If nothing is pumping, if no blood is flowing to the heartbeat of the project, instant death. This is why kids are getting shot in broad daylight, and it's chaos because they refuse. They refuse, and even they got the 81st precinct to co-sign and said we won't do any protection over there if y'all fix that park up. So it's just like an empty. And
it's sad. It's sad because that was the gateway for us. Never was afraid of going to Boothe, Soul in the Hole. You see pictures on our website and on our Facebook of Soul in the Hole where you got 400 or 500 people on one little court standing around, and we don't have no violence. Nobody got shot. Anything like that. Yeah, referee get yelled at here and there, but it was never crazy. Boothe the same, Tillery Park the same. I mean, We're used to playing in floods of people. It brought our community out. You know, I see a lot of people hit me up on Facebook and say, yo, I never played, but I was at those games. And
Yes.
so, you know, I think the politicians and I think the police got it wrong. You know, there's no more PAL. Guess what else is missing? After school center, night center.
Yep.
We grew up in
Yep.
this stuff. So you're not invested in the community. That's why you have the violence against the police or the violence against each other. You know, you need community stuff. You need community leaders. You need community centers. And you need community tournaments as from a basketball perspective, because that solves a lot of problems.
Listen, I interviewed Mel Davis, Brevoort first NBA player, right? First superstar. He said, man, when I was coming up, to go across the street to 21 Community Center and a night center,
Yep.
right? Those are the kind of things that help shape me. And then the other mentors involved. And that's why I wanted to start this dialogue, right? To talk to some of the coaches, some of the grassroots programs, some of the players, so we could try to just have dialogue, just try to figure out how we can get back to doing what we need to do, what was done for us. What was done for us.
Right.
Because I say it again, a lot of white men had a lot to do with a lot of our success. I'm going to keep it like, because my high school coach had a lot to do with a lot of young black men's success. And now it seems like that now that we're in control, and I'm not pointing a finger, I'm just saying we just have to do a better job. We got to do a better job.
Right.
So
and the kids
even if we start the dialogue and get the talking and get these conversations flowing, we can be, you know, put ourselves on the right path to get this thing fixed.
If you want to capture the kids, the carrot is the basketball with the kids, right? So in our era, you could play in the Brevoort tournament, go down Soul in the Hole, go to Kingston, go to Wingate for Nero, go to Reese Beach, go to I mentioned Tillery, you can go to BRC, Gershwin. You can move around and get strong tournaments there, right? And never have to leave to go to AAU events up and down the Eastern Seaboard. Stay right in Brooklyn. Stay in Brooklyn. I didn't mention anything uptown yet. I just said staying in Brooklyn. And with that, in that era, we produced 28 NBA players. 28 young men from Brooklyn played in the NBA between 1974 and 1986. 28 with one or two ABA players like Roger Brown. So if you think about that, these guys stayed in Brooklyn, never left Brooklyn, played all over Brooklyn, and became NBA players. 2 Hall of Famers, Chris Mullin, Bernard King, 1 Dream Teamer, Chris Mullin, 2 NBA champions, Vinnie Johnson, John Sally, and 2 National High School Players of the Year, Pearl and Albert King.
Hold on, but we gotta go back. Kenny Smith. You gotta put Kenny Smith. Oh no, Brooklyn. Right. Brooklyn.
And then the other national champion is in college was Lorenzo Charles. He won
Lorenzo Charles.
So I'm just saying these 28 people that got all of their bump and their learnings from the mentors, the coaches, and playing with us and against us, got them to the NBA and to have serious success at the NBA level. So when you look at that versus,
and then they instituted the Regents exam to slow that up.
Exactly. Oh well, you know, there again is those biases and those systemic things that we all had to face and overcome.
SAT exams.
But what you're mentioning is you'll see is most of these guys got their start in junior college. We all went to junior college because we couldn't crack that SAT the way we should have. But then we leave junior college. You got Vinnie Johnson, you got Sam Worthing, you got a number of guys that went to JUCO and came out of JUCO, then eventually did well. But again,
Jerry Ice Reynolds as well. Yeah,
everybody, you know, RJ Irvin, a lot of guys had to go that route because, again, the educational system wasn't built for us to succeed. The whole thing was built for us to fail. And
we found a way.
We didn't fail because of that orange thing. And I'm telling you, the few brothers that passed away, you know, because of whatever reasons, health reasons, but most of the brothers are alive and kicking, man. And we're reflecting. We have over 1,200 members on the Facebook page in 3 months. So it's alive and well. And I just want to shout out the website, www.ballsidemiddle.com. You can see a gallery of pictures and get some updates. The Facebook page is Ballside Middle Documentary. And we are on Instagram and YouTube a little bit, ball.side.middle. That's how you get to us. But again, we're going to try to drop the first episode by the end of October, November. We're contemplating streaming source. We may not want to come out the gate with a Netflix type thing. We want to control the narrative, and we want to control how we distribute it out the gate. But it will be 4 episodes that will give you some deep insight on Brooklyn basketball, Brooklyn culture. We're going to get into the culture. We're going to talk about Skelly. We're going to talk about stickball. We're going to talk about those.
What you know about Skelly? Man, what you know about being the killer diller? What you know about that? Huh? What you know about that? Look, you should call me. You should call me because I may have a plug for you. A friend of mine, they do have a streaming company, which I'll be running Basketball Heads out soon.
Good.
And it's located, right here. Downtown Brooklyn, right under the bridge in Dumbo.
Yeah, the key is capacity. And because this thing is going to hit, you may get 100,000 people jumping on it right away. Just because it's Brooklyn and it's basketball and it's everybody's home watching streaming now. So, we can go to Netflix and they control the narrative and they don't put it out there internationally like we want it to be. They don't market it. So we feel we'll do the best we can in the first year, create leverage, and then we go to Netflix or Amazon or whomever and say, listen, we got a hot product. You may want to get behind it. And then we go there.
I'm gonna see you my guy number, see what they can do for you.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. My guy, Mr. Crossland, said what happened to Stu Granger.
Stu Granger is in the documentary. We scheduled to do a Zoom call with him 2 weeks ago. But we're going to actually get one in. Stu is my man. Stu is one of the best point guards, most focused guards. He made it to the NBA, to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yes.
So we definitely got Stu. We got that Nazareth Park crew, Nazareth High School that represented. They won a championship, I believe, in 78, 79. So on the Catholic school side. But yeah, Stu Granger, Mike Dunleavy also played the NBA. He went to Nazareth. He's a big NBA coach as well. His son played the NBA. So yeah. Mike is official. Yeah, so those, and a real guy. He's a real guy too. No, very real. So we definitely did our research, and again, you see, I'm a collector of information, so it's been easy for me to kind of tap into these resources, and oh man, it's incredible. All right, so last question, along with Larry Washington. I know Larry Washington. Yeah. And you hitting this right in the head, we just talked about how can we get back to being the Mecca of basketball in New York City? Because if you Google who's the new Mecca of basketball, in bold letters it says Los Angeles, California. Yeah, and I would have to wholeheartedly disagree. The way Brooklyn is set up culturally, you cannot avoid a basketball court. And basketball courts are strategically put into our communities so that we can all congregate in those communities and we can be watched. Yeah. And what we did was we took that community and that offering and played basketball. But to answer your question of how can we get back to that fame, that claim to fame of being the Mecca, is real simple, I think. And I think that platforms such as yours, where you are creating the conversation and you're opening up people's thoughts to say, reinvest in your own community. Keep our kids in Brooklyn. Reinvest, because they've already built, man, I was down at Foster Park and the work they did at Foster and even St. John's. These parks are beautiful. And it's important now for people to start raising these babies in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. Start creating teams. Do what Ted Gustis did. Take over a park in the mornings and just run drills and clinics. Start building it there, and don't subscribe to we got to be a national team like Riverside or somebody else traveling around the whole world. Let's stay home. Let's get organizers to start having tournaments again and start having tournaments at home. If you have a basketball team and organization, also run a tournament. Run a tournament, even if it's a 4-week tournament. Run a tournament. Give people options. I'm telling you, I play 8 games a weekend and maybe 2 or 3 during the week. I mean, you know, it was like, I got to make sure your moms, you got to get my shirts ready because I got to take 4 or 5. I took 4 or 5 shirts in a bag and I'm out. And that's, you got to get back to that culture. And you have an investment in these parks. They look good, but who's going in there, getting a permit and running their programs? And I know there's good things going on in certain spots. We filmed downtown at Conrad McRae Park, and brothers down there doing their thing. You know, they had about 30 kids down there working out. We loved it.
My guy Pat Alphonse, my guy Troy Douglas.
Yes,
they do the basketball camps.
Yes.
Those my guys from Grady High School.
Yes.
Yes.
Doing their thing. Another brother used to coach at the High. He was there too. Forget his name. But they was, you know, just what they were doing with the young men. They had a 6'11" sophomore there. But guess what he was doing? He was going to school upstate in Massachusetts somewhere. He was leaving Brooklyn. So, you know, we're feeding them and we're introducing this game to them, but we can't retain them. Whereas when I grew up, who wanted to leave Brooklyn? Where? To go where? The best basketball is in Brooklyn. Why would I want to leave? And then they don't know our history. I'll tell you this one last quick story. I'm interviewing Elmer Anderson, right? And you know Elmer, Pearl Washington, backcourt teammates.
That's my guy, yeah.
Elmer, I asked the young man's 18 years old. I said, my man, do you know who's teaching you? He said, well, I know him from around the community because Elmer does a lot in the community. I said, but do you know who he is? Do you know his numbers, his stats? He was all city. Do you know that? And he's like, no. I said, do you know his teammate, Pearl Washington? He said, no. How do you not know Pearl Washington? You know, you old enough to be Pearl's son. And how do you not know who Pearl Washington is? So that's a part of, they don't know our history. And because our history was not filmed, but guess what, brother? It is filmed now. And that's what Ballside Middle's about. We are putting it on film. We are bringing back to life an era of forgotten basketball where we were truly the Mecca. And then after we finish this, we're going 85, 95. So we're going to be interviewing you. So here we go.
Here we go. Oh, for sure. And look, when we talk about the situation, when you ask those young men, I go to the parks all the time, and I just shoot short commercials. This is Rucker Park. This is Ajax. I was at Lincoln Park the other day, Uptown and the Old Boys of Yesteryear tournament, and I'm making my rounds. One day I'm in Soul in the Hole doing Soul in the Hole, and the kids are playing, and I'm going, yo, y'all know where y'all playing at? They was like, no. They was playing up top where the new rims were. I said, come walk me down here. I said, you know, there was another court down here. They was like, there was another court? Now it's a handball court.
Yeah, I know. They messed it up.
So I took my time to give them the history, let them know some of the people that were playing there, and then they helped me shoot my video after I gave them the knowledge.
Right. And do me a favor.
And now,
when you see
they all subscribe to Basketball Heads.
Yeah.
And these are good kids because I asked them their grades. They were like A and B students.
Yeah. Send them to the website. They'll see pictures and tell them, don't look at the tight shorts. Don't look at the afros. Don't look at the Chuck Taylors. Read about the greatness of these young.
Yeah, they too much into the swag.
Greatness. And if it's the greatness, we're good. So anyway, thanks for having me.
I'm definitely gonna do that. So when I talk to the young guys, I'll give them the history, but also send them to your page as well. All right?
Yeah.
So we come. Go ahead.
Now I said we're gonna.
Go ahead.
We want to premiere this at the Barclays Center. That's our goal. We want to premiere the documentary at the Barclays Center. So hopefully we can fill that place up with the community of kids and of course the old heads. And really, you know, try to get 20,000 people in there to see Ballside Middle. That's a goal. If we can put it on the jumbo screen.
When you're ready to promote it, I will be a vehicle for you to promote it. I just need a press pass so I could be frontline and center interviewing all the guys. That's all I need.
Too easy. And I appreciate you giving us some time and some shine. And again, we definitely are excited. And all the brothers and sisters that are participating in this, man, we love it, man.
No doubt. So at this point in the show, we ask our guests to nominate someone to be on the show. So if you don't have somebody on the top of your head right now, you can hit me up. You can think about it. Hit me up. Be like, yo, G, you should contact this person. This person, somebody you should have on, you know?
There's a person I nominate who's a relative of mine, and he played basketball in the era at Brooklyn Tech High School. He went on to play at Colgate High School. Colgate College, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then from there, he came home and he became a Saboa basketball official. But then right after that, he joined the CIAA as an NFL official, and then went on into the NFL and became a Super Bowl NFL official, and is currently the man in charge of all officiating development for the NFL, as well as, the game play-by-play and the rules and all that. His name is Wayne Mackey. He's a Brooklynite. And
definitely, I heard of that. Yes, heard that name. Yeah,
that's us extremely well, because he can give you like a rag to riches story. Grew up in Linden Projects in East New York,
right,
and lived in Starrett City, and went on to have a great career. He'll be a little bit of a different perspective, but
not so good. Yeah, yeah.
Basketball is his origins and his heart, and he was able to flip it, from a basketball referee to a football referee. But he's represented our community well, all of basketball. He played in West Fourth, played in everything. So played for Ted Gus's, Dittman's Park. So all of us know Wayne in that respect. He's our basketball guy, but did big things in football.
Got you. So that's who it is, Wayne McKay. Let's make that happen, my brother.
Thank you.
And before you get out of here, I got one more laugh for you from my guy, Mr. Crossland.
What do you say?
Ready? He said, we lost in the championship to the 5th floor because Miss Mary was a ringer. That's how we gonna end that show, brother. Peace. Salute, Coach Craig Boothe. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. One love, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Where everybody goes.
Y'all gotta get my man Bernard Mitchell picture and Sean Williams picture, man.
No, I didn't do that, right?
Nah. I'll give you a picture. What up, T?
Walk through the tunnel.